Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Uncensored Critic podcast. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It means the world to me. Thank you very, very much indeed. And today we welcome along Felicity Jackson. If anyone who's unaware of Felicity and her work, let's take a moment to introduce her. Felicity attended the Court Theatre Training Company, where she gained a BA Honours in acting. After graduating, she founded Surviving Actors Ltd, which some of you might have been to, a networking event that helps 2,000 actors a year attend to have more information about workshops, equipment, headshots, and talks about the business and much, much more. As well as founding Casting Days Ltd, which was initially launched as a dedicated acting showcase company, but then evolved into a working relationship with Star Now, supporting UK casting professionals and running affordable workshops for actors. On top of that, she is currently the founder and director of Actors Pro Expo, an online platform that hosts virtual conversations with casting directors, agents, workshops, showcases for actors are also looking for representation or to refresh the skill set. And if that's not enough, some of you might even know her from the BBC One's The Apprentice Series 7, where she beat 72,000 people to make it to the final 16 candidates. And I'm sure you saw her on that at some point over the last few years. But without further ado, hello, Felicity.
Hello. That was a long intro. Thank you very much.
No, it's all you. That's all your work, mate. Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's really cool. So we start at the beginning. So where did it come from? The love of this business, acting, the arts. Where did it start for you?
So, Actors Pro Expo, which originally was called Surviving Actors, all began when I was working as an actor. I'd graduated from drama school and I was doing a promo job and I was working on a stand and I was basically selling these discount cards. I can't remember what they were called. And we would go to freshers fairs at universities. Um, and it was a discount card that the student could buy and then they could use it. Anyway, so I'm at these events and I was looking around thinking, I feel like actors would find this really useful to have like an event where they could meet different organizations and companies that could kind of support them. And the original idea, which is the whole reason it's called Surviving Actors, was that it was meant to be a trade show or an event where actors could come and find their survival job. So it was originally meant to be like promo companies and call centers and supply teachers and children's party entertainers and all of that. Those type of companies that could be there and offer jobs to actors. That's the whole reason it was called Surviving Actors. And then it massively evolved from that original idea. But yeah, that's kind of where it all started. And I was working as an actor. I'd graduated from drama school and I was always doing promo jobs. And I had loads of connections in kind of the survival job area quite well. And I thought, oh, I feel like this would be very useful for other actors. So that was kind of where it all started.
Yeah. So tell me about your training, the Court Theatre. How was your training there?
It's absolutely amazing. I loved drama school. I feel like everyone had different experiences, but I really love drama school. I don't work as an actor anymore. I'm not a working actor, but I would go back and do it again 100 times over. I feel like the skills that I learned at drama school was so transferable. Um, I learned so much being there. It was one of the smaller drama schools, so I feel like we had to kind of fight a bit to get the name out there. And yeah, I just met really amazing people. I loved the teachers. I just loved the whole experience, to be honest. It was a really positive 3 years for me. And yeah, I feel like when you go to drama school, even if you're not an actor anymore, which so many people don't end up doing, for me and I think for everyone, it's not a waste of time in the slightest because the skills you learn as drama school as an actor, like I use them on a daily basis at work. and in all areas of my life. So yeah, it was a really positive experience for me, and I loved the courtyard. It was a really lovely family, and it was a great area in London. It was in Shoreditch, and it was really like 20 years ago. It was really at the beginning of the kind of, now everyone knows it, but 20 years ago it was like the beginning of that whole kind of boom in Shoreditch. So it was a really exciting place to be.
Yeah, just like you were in Shoreditch before it was Shoreditch, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
It actually was like it really wasn't like, I remember bars like slowly popping up and we were like, oh, this is cool. And then all of a sudden it felt overnight like we were in like the coolest area in London and we were like, oh, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
So it was a really exciting time.
Yeah, it's like we were talking before you came on about just like everyone is an actor, or everyone has that ability in them somehow, and that's a very good point you make there about in this business like, and you said you've yet to. It's very a rare occurrence that you meet anyone who you don't get on with. Anyway, you meet so many people who you get along with because they've got that actors buzz about them, like the caring, the sort of, I don't want to say hyper personality, but a heightened personality, that they've got that energy about them, and that's something that you love working with people, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that I genuinely think actors are usually like 99% of the time just really lovely people and really adaptable, and also just quite like ready to kind of learn and find out new things, and kind of like, I feel like when you're an actor you're not like, oh, I've done my training. It's not like if you're like, I don't know, an electrician or something, and you're like, I've done my training, I'm done now, and now I go to work. Like when you're an actor, you do your training and then you're evolving continuously
Yeah,
and constantly kind of changing as a person and changing your network, and things are always moving. So I just feel like that type of person that as an actor, I find that they're quite easy to work with because they're very open to like new ideas and new things, and like they listen. And I think that's why I do really like working with actors. And the majority of, and when I say working with actors, I don't just mean people that come to my event. Like the
yeah,
majority of the people that have a booth or sponsor the event, they're actually actors as well, because they also have a business, which is like We Audition are one of our biggest sponsors, and it's run by two actors, so the majority of companies that also work with me are actors. So even it's more than just the attendees. And yeah, I like actors a lot. I like working with them, and yeah, I find them just refreshing people to be around.
yeah. Well, it's very kind of you to say. But so just before we get into your work with Actors Pro Expo and surviving actors and stuff, I want to quickly ask you about The Apprentice. It's a show that I've watched over the years, and so I was thinking about like well, first of all, how was the experience? Unfortunately, I think you got fired in week 4, I think it was.
Yeah.
But what was the experience of being a part of that, beating 72,000 people to get to the last 16?
Yeah, so it was really good. The audition experience was amazing. That was like really eye-opening because I had been auditioning as an actor. So
Mm,
like it was like a completely different experience, even though they called it auditioning, it was like a completely different to what we think of as auditioning.
yeah.
Um, so that process was really good. And I feel like because I never in a million years thought I was going to get it, I never really took the auditions that seriously. So like it felt like the stakes were really low because I was like, I'm obviously not going to get on this. And then every audition that I got, like every recall, as we would say, but for them, every time I got called back, I was like, there was less and less people. And I'm like, this is really okay. Why is this happening? So that was quite cool, that experience. And then the actual filming of it was just really surreal.
Mm,
Um, and it was really, really good. Like I was 23 or 24. No, I think I was 23. And I was surrounded by people that were like a lot older than me, with a lot more experience than me.
yeah.
And it was a really great opportunity to just get to know other people that had their own businesses and hear their ideas and like just watch the way that they worked. I felt like as someone that was quite young, it was a really good experience just to be surrounded by other people with so much more experience than me. And that was just a good opportunity.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like when you're doing the task, but you've got a camera that's following you all over the place. I mean, is that
Yeah.
at first was it intimidating having the cameras there, or did you kind of the more they were around you, did you forget about them?
So I literally never forgot about the cameras. And
Uh,
I've heard people talk about that before, like, oh, you forget about the cameras. And I could actually see other candidates, and I would think they have definitely forgotten about the cameras with like things they're saying. I don't know if it's because I went to drama school or whatever, but I was like completely aware of them at all times. And I maybe if I'd been on it for longer, maybe I might have forgotten about them. But for me personally, like I was fully aware of them at all times. And like everything I said or thought about, it was so tiring because I knew that there was a camera there. And so like it's not the most natural thing that you can go through because they probably want you to forget the cameras there, but
mm.
I didn't like, and I just can't imagine actually forgetting that they're there. And maybe if I'd done it for longer, I would have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very aware of the cameras.
Yeah, and I suppose it's quite intimidating as well because you're trying to get a business like, or the task, you're trying to create something like with that pressure and the camera's just there the whole time. I think, I wonder if the camera crew are going, come on, just say something. We need a scoop here. We need a scoop here. Because like any moment you could just be like, you could say something there and it could just blow up in a way, can't it? But of course,
Yeah.
you don't want that to happen.
Well, do you know what? It's so strange because well, there's two things. One thing is that you're not allowed to talk when the cameras aren't on, so it's really annoying. So
That's
you'd be, yeah, like obviously they want to capture everything. So if the cameras aren't on, you're not allowed to talk. You are allowed to talk about non-task related stuff, but you're not allowed to talk about the task. So it's really annoying because
hmm.
you obviously want to be like, oh, talk, but you're not allowed to talk. So that's why, like, when you watch The Apprentice and they seem like really underprepared, and it's like, well, they haven't had a lot of time to actually discuss these things because
Yeah.
they're not allowed to talk about it unless the camera's on. Um, I actually did make one really huge faux pas, which I was so embarrassed about and I was so worried about, and it never made the edit, which was that basically I got kilograms and grams mixed up, which is actually really normal for me. Like that's the type of thing that I would do. And I got kilograms and grams mixed up, and afterwards I was like, oh, it's going to be so embarrassing. They're going to make a massive thing of it, and it never made the edit, and I was like, that's so weird. Like, thank goodness. But yeah, it was one of those things that I was like, they obviously have a plan for the different people and the different characters. And that mistake that I'd made with the kilograms and grams was like not part of the plan. And so it never made the edit, which was great.
That's a relief. That's a relief.
Mm.
That seems a bit unfair. You're not allowed to talk about anything. Well, not allowed to talk when the cameras are not on. That's a bit, yeah. It's like surely you want to talk
No,
about things. Yeah.
no, yeah. It's really the time you get to work on the tasks is so short. Um, like you'll be in the boardroom and they'll be like, oh, you had 48 hours to do this, but you didn't. You had like 5 hours because you were only allowed to talk about it when the cameras were on, and
Mm,
the logistics of filming takes over, is more important than the tasks, obviously, because it's a TV show, which is understandable, but that stuff does take a lot of time.
mm,
Um, and it's not the same as doing the task without filming it.
mm. Well, at least, yeah. God, you're not allowed to talk from that. Well, at least, yeah, and then if they sort of like paint this picture, like you say, that you've got loads of time, but actually behind the
Yeah,
scenes,
no,
really don't. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we're getting
no,
secrets
no,
of the
not at
apprentice.
all. Like you'll be sat outside, like you might have um a building that you're going to be doing something in, and you'll be sat outside for ages whilst they're setting up all the cameras and all of that kind of stuff. So
Oh,
you'll lose tons of time
yeah.
with that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's the filming takes priority over anything when you're doing The Apprentice, which is completely understandable because obviously it's a TV show. But when you're doing a task and you're like, oh, you're trying to kind of organize the logistics of it, you're not just doing the task, you're also kind of having to factor in that there's going to be the camera crew here and that's got to be set up for filming and this and this and this, and all of that takes a long time.
Yeah, I would have. You're like, come on, can we just get no, like just brainstorm or just do something while
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
camera's up?
yeah.
And they go, no, 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 no. Shh.
No, no, no task talk. So that's what you would get told constantly. No task talk, no task talk. And you would be like, even if you had to go to the bathroom or something, you would be taken to the toilets and stuff. Like you could not talk about the task
Wow,
unless the cameras are on. So yeah, that is really, really difficult.
barking mad if you ask me. But yeah, God, I suppose like if that was me, I'd be like, do you know what? I'd rather get fired. Just get me off this show. Yeah, but no, but so sorry that you had to they had to leave the show at some point because Lord Sugar, I think, was yeah, you fell victim to that. But yeah, but what was he like, Lord Sugar? Because you mentioned that you barely saw him actually at all.
Yeah, I mean, I only saw him in the boardrooms. I think later in the series, he kind of is a bit more involved with the candidates.
Yeah.
He was exactly the same as you see him on the TV shows.
Hmm.
So he had that same kind of like, you know, way about him that you see on the TV shows. We spent a lot more time with Karen and Nick that were like the two like support people
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
they actually come with you when you're doing the task. So you spend loads more time with them. But Lord Sugar, honestly, like I saw him in the boardrooms. I saw him when he would come and tell us the tasks.
Hmm.
And that was it really. So it wasn't like one-on-one time like you get with Nick and Karen.
Mm. Well, it sounds like I don't know, it sounds like a really odd experience, really, because like I mean, obviously it's great to be a part of it. It's an amazing opportunity, it's exposure for yourself. But yeah, yeah, just the thought of not talking, you're not allowed to talk while the cameras are not on and everything. Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's an
It's just
interesting
it's just it's a
thing.
reality TV show, and I think that that is something that everyone has to remember about any of these things,
Yeah,
that it's a reality TV show. It's not real, and it's not like, like they're always like, oh, the best business people in Britain, and it's like, well, it's not really. It's just reality TV people that have come on to do a show. It's not, but it's good fun. And I just feel like with any of these things, if you just kind of go at it with a light-hearted attitude, in that this is just a TV show, it's a bit of fun. It was great exposure for the business. I got lots and lots of contacts through it, and also it was just a great life experience. Like
yeah,
after that, I did like BBC Breakfast, and I did live interviews, and I did the One Show, and I did the marathon for a charity after it. And all
yeah,
of those experiences were just like, when you're in your early 20s, to have all of those experiences are just fantastic, just to do and enjoy and have fun. And it's not like, it doesn't need to be kind of too serious or anything like that. It's just a good fun.
yeah, absolutely. Speaking of businesses, let's moving on to your work. So we'll start with that. We'll get on to Actors Pro Expo in just a second, but you started with a company called Surviving Actors Limited, which I was lucky enough to go to one of those events. I think it was 2018, I think it was. So for anyone who didn't go, it's Surviving Actors was basically this fantastic place where you could go to network with people. You went to a hotel in I think it was just by Marble Arch Tube Station. You go in, you've got this huge array of people. You meet people who edit show reels. You've got headshot people, photographers. You've got people who can run workshops and acting classes, and there's also seminars and talks which you could go to as well. Yeah, and it was a huge thing and really, really helpful for anyone that was a surviving actor who wasn't in work at that point, to go along and just refresh their memory or just get that bit of motivation to say, look, just keep going. Like, what do you need? This, yeah, go over there. That person's got that stall over there. Go check it out. So, where did it come from? Surviving actors.
Yeah, so Actors Pro Expo, by the way, is exactly the same as Surviving Actors. We just changed
Okay.
the name.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Surviving Actors and Actors Pro Expo is the same thing. We just changed the name because we had a 10-year party and we were chatting to loads of people, and so many people were saying, that they're not that keen on the name Surviving Actors, which is why we changed it to Actors Pro Expo. But I think that like I said earlier, the original Surviving Actors name and concept was really about helping actors survive. And it wasn't, and it still isn't. It's not about kind of how to become an actor. It's much more how to survive as an actor, and how to kind of go from drama school to becoming a full-time working actor. And
Mm.
that's the kind of group of people that we really try to support. Is people that have left drama school or left university or left their training, and they're kind of trying to work out how they can survive. So at the events, you should be able to find a second job. There's always companies that are recruiting for that. You should be able to work on your materials. So there's always headshot companies, show reel companies, voice reel companies. And then there's also kind of other training as well. So there's
Yeah.
like stage combat companies and different types of training. Um, and then companies that you already probably use that it's just nice to speak to in person, like Spotlight and Equity and the Stage and people like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole idea really is to kind of just help actors survive. Like it's at the beginning of the year and it's a bit like, how are you going to survive this year? And like these are hopefully some tools that should be able to kind of guide you and help you kind of get through this year.
Hmm.
Um, and Alexa Morden, who runs 98%, she's always saying that the actors that you hear about constantly are the ones that are kind of like winning awards and celebrities and all of those kind of people. But actually, you've got these 98% of actors that are not in full-time work, that are not walking down red carpets, and actually, like, what is there for them? And that's what Surviving Actors and our Actors Pro Expo is meant to be, basically a huge day to kind of celebrate and encourage and give advice to all of those people. And it's not so much about kind of like famous actors or anything like that. It's just about genuine working or not working actors and how they can survive.
Mm. Yeah, and you did it really really well as well, because when you came in there was always an opportunity to talk to anyone, because there was so many people there, and it
Yeah.
was really really interesting because you meet all these people who have like maybe snapped some. I think there's one lady there one time who was the official photographer of like Damian Lewis or someone like that, who was there, and
Yeah.
hearing about all these different people and all the various opportunities you could go to. So in terms of like yourself actually, because there was an article in the Stage by Susan Elkin, which I've read, which you did, and just your story sounds really fascinating, because you want, well, I got anyway, is that you felt like you wanted to really give something back. You really wanted to help other people, and you realized that you fell in love more with the business and actually the industry rather than acting. Was I correct on that?
Yeah. Yeah. So I went to drama school for 3 years, and when I came out, I wasn't, I really enjoyed acting, but I didn't really love the actor's lifestyle, which I still stand by now. Although I think
Yeah.
that perhaps if I had the knowledge and tools then that I do now, it would have been a lot easier. And then I really enjoy connecting people. And I've learned that about myself. Like even in my own personal life, like if someone's like, oh, I need an osteopath, or I need this, or I need somebody to help me with my website, whatever. I've always really enjoyed connecting people.
Mm.
And I feel like with Actors Pro Expo, it's been a really good opportunity for me to kind of bridge these two parts of my personality. Like I really enjoyed drama school and I really enjoyed acting and I really enjoy that well. Like I love the theatre, I love film. I'm definitely immersed in the industry, but I also love connecting people and kind of like helping people out and giving them kind of just tips really, and connecting them with, well, not even me giving them tips, to be honest, but connecting them with someone else who can give them advice. And so Actors Pro Expo has kind of like all the different parts of my life have kind of like brought it all together, really. The love of acting, and then also the love of kind of connecting people and kind of bringing people together.
Mm.
Um, and so, yeah, and so that kind of took over. And I, people always ask me like, oh, would you go back to being an actor? And never, I would always say like, never ever say never.
Yeah.
Like I potentially would one day. At the moment, I don't have any plans to. And I feel like if you are an actor, you have, it's really, really difficult, and it's really hard work.
Yeah.
And I think there is really happy and positive ways that you can go about your life. So it's not all doom and gloom. But I think if you're not like buzzing for it inside and you haven't got a real passion for it, then, which I don't personally, then it's kind of like, what's the point? So I feel like I would go back to acting at some point if I got that passion back and it kind of like ignited in me. And as soon as it does, then I probably will. But at the moment, the running Actors Pro Expo is, it definitely it definitely fulfills me and fulfills my creativity. And I really, really enjoy, I absolutely love running events,
Mm.
really love them. It's, yeah, it's something which I've always enjoyed doing at school as a child. Like I would always be the one that would like organize parties and organize things and like do stuff like that. Um, and it's interesting because I considered going to university to do event management when I was 18.
Okay.
That was like really high on my list as something to do. And it's so interesting now that I have ended up in events, but also in the acting world. And it's kind of merged those two as well.
Yeah. Well, that's do you think if you had your time again, would you do events management, or are you very glad that that wasn't something you did?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't think I would, I think that like I said earlier, like I think drama school was such a good experience for me. I had a really good time, and I feel like the skills that I learned have just been very, very transferable to all areas for me.
Mm.
That you know what, you just don't know though. I have no idea what life would have been like if I had done events management.
Mhm.
But I suspect if I'd done events management, I might have fallen down the route of just kind of getting a job within an events company.
Yeah, yeah,
Whereas because I went to drama school and then did all of the kind of, I was already on a mindset that I wasn't going to have a normal job. So I feel
yeah,
like that mindset of not having a normal job has then led me to be able to run this company, which I might not have done if I'd have done an events management
yeah.
course.
No, you made the right call. We've got you in this industry where you belong, and we're very glad to have you here. So tell me about the journey from like so because I'm so interested in how businesses and well these projects how they start in a way. And in the article it said the first event was in a nightclub in
Yeah,
winter of 2010. So
yeah.
what's the journey been for like for you from that first like initial idea to surviving actors to Actors Pro Expo and up until this moment right now? How's it been?
Yeah. So yeah, the first event was in a nightclub. Actually, the first three events were, the first one was in one called Sway in
Hmm.
Holborn, which I believe is still there. And then the second and third one, I think it was called Sound.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if it's still there. It was in Leicester Square. Um, and nightclubs were really good because they basically had the big dance floor.
Okay.
And then they had like breakout rooms basically. Um, and so they actually worked really well. They had very sticky floors. I remember that. And I used to have to do everything. So like get all of the electrics and get all of the, and like set up all the tables, hire the tables in. So it was so much logistical work using those venues before we moved to, and then we moved to somewhere called the IET in Savoy Place. And then from there we moved to the Radisson, And then after the Radisson, we're now at the ETC in Bishopsgate. And yeah, I feel like it's just grown from year to year. It kind of felt like the first four events, it grew quite rapidly each event, and then it kind of stayed for a while, kind of similar size every year. And then since COVID, it has really, really grown for us.
Right.
And I think the reason for that is that everything is online, and people are really excited to go to a live event and do something in person and meet people in the room. And so COVID was surprisingly a good thing for us, because it meant that in-person events became much more exciting. Unfortunately, much more expensive to run. That was a huge issue after COVID. Everyone in the events industry will understand what I'm saying, but basically every venue put their prices up unbelievably for
Yeah.
venue hire
Yeah.
after COVID, because they basically what I believe, and people can let us know in the comments if I'm right, if they're in that industry, but from what I believe with venues, what happened was they lost so much money over COVID,
Yeah.
that they then put their prices up to try to kind of reclaim the year or 2 years worth of losses.
Yeah.
And then they realized that people were paying those prices, so then they've never gone down again.
Mm.
So venue hire has gone like,
Just through the roof, hasn't it?
I
Yeah.
cannot explain the difference. I've written a blog on it. So if anyone is more interested in it, if you go onto Actors Pro Expo, I've written a blog about the difference of running events.
Yeah.
But the difference between my first event to this event in terms of the cost of running and the production cost is insane, unbelievable. And probably producers that are listening that produce theatre shows, they probably have the exact same issue
Yeah.
with theatre hire and things like that. But yeah, that has been a massive challenge.
Yeah. If anyone's interested, I'll put the link down below in the description to Actors Pro Expo website, where you can get links to your blog and everything there. So go check it out, guys. Yeah, I mean, that's sort of obviously you've got the money side of the business there, but what you were saying there, it sounds like a very tactical marketing technique. They've put their prices up and everyone's paying them, so that becomes like a standard now, which
Yeah.
sadly was a thing with COVID. So in terms of like the business, so what made you sort of like you had this spike over the lockdown? Everyone wanted to come on and sort of get more things, because like being remote, everyone can access it like in their homes and everything like that. And so you've had some amazing guests on. You've had people from Independent, you've had people from Simon and Howe and everything.
Yeah.
And so what would you say was like the common theme that they share? And of course they can hear about this in future events, which they can find on the website below. But what would you say was like the common theme that what do people ask you? What are the most frequently asked questions of yourself, and what the most frequent answers do you think you get from these workshops?
Yeah, I think that at seminars, and in terms of like all feedback forms that we get, the most frequent kind of request and things that people want to know is, how can I book more work?
Mm.
That is always, obviously and completely understandably, the most frequent thing that actors are wanting to know, like, how can I book more? How can I book more? And the most frequent response from casting directors and agents are, spend more time working on your craft and make sure that your acting is as good as possible, because you can do the perfect email, or you can edit a great show reel, or you can master the self-tape and all of that. But if in essence, if your craft is not the most important thing, then all of the business stuff is just a moot point. It doesn't really matter. It's like your talent and your craft is got to kind of be the driving force and got to be the main part. And yes, of course, it is really important to work on your self-tape, and and write good cover letters and have good social media and all of that kind of stuff, and all of that is really important. But actually, like, a casting director just wants to see really strong acting and strong work, and that is more important than anything. I feel like that, as an organizer that what organizes seminars and workshops and sees it between the two, that's one thing that I'm always like, the actors are always asking what I can do more, and the agents, casting directors are always saying, like, you can be working on your acting, and that is like the most important thing.
Yeah. So when it comes to like, because I know you do at these events, you do seminars and stuff. What makes you sort of pick? How do you find like in your head kind of the right people that you want to deliver speeches and do the workshops?
Yeah. So we do feedback forms where people kind of put requests in every year. So we do that. I keep an eye on things like award ceremonies, like massive shows that have done really well at the theatre, the Fringe, Netflix. I go back and see like who was the producer, who was the casting director on those.
Mm,
Um, I'm always looking on things like X, Instagram, TikTok, at like kind of what's going on and what people are out there.
mhm.
So yeah, just basically keeping in the industry as much as possible, at kind of like who are the current people that have got something to say, but also trying to always do something different every year and trying to have different guests on to because we have so many people that come back every year to Actors Pro Expo, that if we can always kind of offer fresh information and fresh points of view. And this is the thing, which is that this industry is so subjective.
Mm,
Like, it's basically I can't even imagine if you come to the event and you come to every seminar and then you're just being told like 10 different opinions on 10 different things, and it's just like, oh, okay,
yeah.
and so, and that is, and pretty much all the speakers always say that at the beginning of the seminars, like, this is just my opinion. Like, it's not maths, like it's not easy, it's not like that is the correct answer, this is just an opinion.
Yeah.
And that is something which I think people always need to remember when they listen to any podcast or seminar or workshop, that that is just the person's opinion, and that's just
Yeah.
what they like, not necessarily what every casting director or
Yeah.
every agent
Yeah.
thinks.
Yeah. No, it's a very good point. So I was just thinking about the way you talked about the business and there and everything, and if we just sort of jump back into sort of like apprentice mode just for 1 second. So if people was to, if they were to ask you why should they come to Actors Pro Expo, so why should they come to Actors Pro Expo, do you think?
I think that it's a good opportunity to be reminded of your actual purpose and what you actually want to do, and also to be surrounded by other people that are really like-minded and are wanting the same things as you,
Yeah.
and realizing that you're not actually alone. And like, sometimes it can feel like you're the only actor that, like, didn't get a reply from the self-tape that they sent, or
Yeah.
you're the only actor that hasn't had an audition in a year, or you're the only actor that has an agent that doesn't respond to your emails, or whatever it is. I feel like, and that's why I was saying that we've grown a lot since COVID, and I do believe that's because people need more human interaction. And when you're spending 90% of your year doing a non-acting job, it's so nice to go somewhere for a whole day and be reminded, I am an actor.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I meant to be doing. These are the people that are around me. Everyone else is finding it really hard as well. It's not just me. And, kind of getting that advice in person is just really nice. And also just a good opportunity to connect with drama school friends and university friends, and kind
Mm,
of, and that's what's so nice. Like, it's literally my favorite thing at events, and you see it all the time,
yeah.
where people are like, and they're just like, and I love that. Like, when I walk past people and I overhear them, they're like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you in years." And I'm like, that's like my favorite thing to hear at the events.
Yeah.
And I see it on Facebook as well, and I love it. I see like little Facebook groups and stuff being made, and they're like, oh, this drama school reunion at Actors Pro Expo. And so that they'll organize like mini kind of things where they're like doing reunions and stuff at the events. And that's just gorgeous. Like that is like so nice to feel that you've got a small part in kind of connecting people and bringing them back together.
Mm.
Um, is really, really nice. So yeah, I feel like those would be the reasons that I would say actors should come and be a part of the event, is that, you know, especially now, like everything's online, it's nice to go to something in person and hear things direct from the horse's mouth.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. That connect. The big word is what you've used a lot today is connection. Maintain that connection
Yeah.
not only with other people and old friends that come in, but you make those new connections with other people in the room, people doing stands, people doing. I'm trying to think. There was a lady who gave a great speech at the one I went to. Was it Charlotte Thornton? Was she?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
She's brilliant. She's
She's.
been coming to our events for many years. She's a coach.
Mhm.
Um, and she is has had a really successful career as an actor, and now I believe she still acts. I'm not 100% sure. I think she does, but she also coaches. And she does lots of events. She has a booth at lots of our events, and then she does lots of seminars for us. And yeah, she always does really good, inspiring seminars. So yeah, she's a very good coach.
Mm. Yeah, she gave a great speech about how getting an agent. I think she, um, maybe probably not serving me correctly here, but I think she went to drama school. She didn't get an agent right away. So Charlotte, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I'm getting any of this wrong. Yeah, I think she left, didn't get an agent immediately, took time to get one, blah, blah, blah. But basically just gave us a really good insight into how to communicate with agents. And from what I remember, she said, look at their client list, talk about if you see someone on their list or more than one person on their list that's done some amazing work, then reach out to them and talk to them about that. How do you like to work with these people? How do you like to, what kind of conversations were you having with them, and then you can bring yourself into the mix and all that stuff. So hopefully I'm getting that right. So Charlotte, again, I'm sorry if I'm getting any of that wrong. But that's a really thing. And also I think from that she then offered like I think you guys offer one-to-one sessions as well, I think. And she actually gave us a list, and you could put your phone number in, and then I had like a good 2-minute chat with her like a couple of weeks later about it, and she gave us some really, really good advice from that. So yeah, it's a really, really great thing that you're doing, Felicity. It really is. And of course, recently with Actors Pro Expo, you're now doing these new showcases events things. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. So I run virtual showcases. So years and years ago, I used to run a in-person showcase, which was at the German Street Theatre.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I used to run those for quite a while, and I used to run like about maybe 5 or 6 a year. And basically, it was a showcase where actors could come do the showcase, and then we would invite agents, and they would invite agents, and they would come and see them. And it was really good. And I stopped them because it was basically getting really, really difficult to get agents to actually come to the showcase.
Hmm.
And the whole idea for it was that it was for trained actors that basically had finished drama school, but they didn't get an agent from their drama school showcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like a second chance showcase for people that didn't get an agent. Um, so it was really good, and I really enjoyed running those showcases. And then stopped them for years. And then after COVID, and kind of people so much more happy to see things in person,
Mm.
online, sorry. I thought actually it would be really good to bring those bring those showcases back, but do them in a virtual format.
Yeah.
Um, And basically, it's an online course, which it's like 10 seminars. And then during the course, you film a monologue, and then we edit it all together so it turns it into a showcase, and then it gets sent out.
Mhm.
Um, so it's up to 20 actors in the showcase. Usually we have about 13, 14 in the showcase, and then that showcase gets emailed out to all of our list of agents. So we've got like 185 now on that list that we send the showcase out to. But we also massively encourage the actors to be emailing and sending out their showcase link as well. And for agents, it's really nice because they're basically able to watch a virtual showcase back to back of different actors that are looking for representation.
Yeah,
And we get so many more agents watching it and engaging with it because it's virtual rather than in a theatre. So that's really good.
mhm.
Um, and for the actors involved, it's just basically the showcase. Like that's what they want. They don't want to do like a whole long course where they're kind of doing loads of different things. They just want to do some seminars which help them with agent outreach, and then the showcase which goes out. So it's been really good. We've had I just got an email this morning from another actor saying that she got signed. We usually get like per showcase, we usually get like 3, 4, 5 people that get signed,
Oh wow.
uh, which has been really good because that was a higher success rate than our kind of like in-person ones. And a showcase, any showcase, a drama school showcase, our showcases, and there's different showcases out there. None of them is like a passport and a ticket to just get an agent immediately. But it's being proactive and it's doing something to kind of like raise your awareness and raise your contacts and raise your network.
Of
And
course.
it gives you something to talk about as well. And the link, the showcase link, and this is what I think is really nice in comparison to an in-person showcase. The showcase link never goes anywhere. So if 6 months later you're like, do you know what, I'm going to give it another bash, actually, you can send out that showcase again. And
Yeah.
it's like work doesn't go anywhere. And like we had someone from I did a TikTok about this, but we had someone from our February showcase that an agent emailed me like 4 months later being like, oh, thanks for your email. I actually am really interested in this actor. Can you just send me their email address? It sent the email address and they ended up signing with them. And I was like, that's what's so nice about a virtual showcase, is that you wouldn't have that in person. Like if you miss something, if you miss a live show, you've missed it. That's it. Whereas
Yeah.
the virtual showcase, they can just re-watch them if they want to.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice. And yeah, we're running our September showcase, which will be our final one for 2024. And then we will start them up again in January in 2025.
Yeah, I know that's a really good thing because I think we were talking about the lockdown earlier and how some positives actually have come out of it is the fact that you can have these virtual things so people can go back to it and they can check in on it again and again and again because like you're saying that performance in person is ephemeral and and it disappears, you miss something and it's gone.
Yeah.
So it's a really good thing that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the virtual showcases have been good. They've been we've been have had a really nice rate of kind of people getting signed from them. But even the people that don't get signed from them, they've also still kind of got this great self-tape that they've done. They've still done all of the seminars, they've still been involved in it. And from everyone that I've spoken to, they're like, I still had a great experience, like just because I didn't get an agent,
Yeah.
there was like other stuff that I managed to kind of like gain from the experience.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, it's been really good. I'm really proud of those virtual showcases, and I think that they will hopefully help more and more people. And it's really lovely as well. Like we have people from all over the UK,
Mm.
whereas my showcases when I did them in person at Jermyn Street Theatre, obviously everyone was London based because like it's a London theatre.
Yeah.
So that's been really nice with these virtual showcases, is that people that live in like all sorts of places have been able to be involved in them.
Mm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And going to say it's a beautiful theatre to do it in as well. It's got a lovely intimacy, so you're right up and close with people, which is great.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice. So, and I was also, I think, another thing, because when you sign up to your website for Actors Pro Expo, you do these Zoom conversations with agents. So, with, it's, like I mentioned earlier, Simon and How,
Yeah.
Independent, United. I know you've had a few people on from, and then you save those recordings, and then people can go back and watch them in like a saved file or something like that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can, so there's always opportunities to go back and make sure, like, what did they say earlier? And so you can go back
Yes.
and do that as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So, it's funny because I've spoken to another business person on here before, and I asked her, like, how do you know when like a business is done? Like, is it ready to go? And is it literally a case of there's nothing more that you can do with it? And she said it was Stephanie Sword Williams, and she said brilliantly, I don't think a business plan is ever done. You're always looking to push forward and keep doing more with it and stuff. So, what more do you want to do with Actors Pro Expo? What's the next stages for you?
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, there's been so many times that I've been like, I am done with this business. Like, this is taking over my life. I can't do this anymore. Or like the finance side of it has been really difficult. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I can't, like it's too scary, like I can't do this anymore. I just want to like get a job and like not have the responsibility of this company. And I felt like that so many times. And then something always happens, and like you have a new idea, or like you get a great email from like a new sponsor, or like something always happens that's like brings me back. And it's the same with actors, like, so many actors I speak to, they're like, I was just about to quit, and then I got a phone call, or and then I got an audition, or then this. And yeah, I feel like with me and my business, like it's always evolving, always trying to think of new ideas, and kind of always trying to make sure that it is as useful as possible, and that the whole event and the whole idea is worth it really for people to be involved with, and that people have had a good experience, and they will come back the year after, and they'll tell their friends about it, and they'll tell people, and the kind of word spreads as much as possible.
Mm.
And also always trying to come up with new ideas, like our last event, we in February, we did something brand new that we'd never done before, which was basically at the end of the day we did a drama school showcase where we basically had RADA, Lambda, East 15, Lipper, Italia Conti, Royal Conservatoire of Scotland,
Mm.
like loads of the Courtyard, PPA, loads of drama schools. And basically the third years all emailed us with monologues and duologues, and we picked two scenes per drama school. And then basically it was a big drama school showcase. And it was brilliant. It was really fun. The students loved it. It was such a good opportunity for them, because as third years that they've got their own showcase, but they don't have one. Like when do you watch a showcase with like different drama schools back to back?
Mm.
So it was really nice. And that was the first year we did it, and it was brilliant, a massive success. And that was our 15th year. And it just kind of went to show me that like it's never done. There's always new ideas, there's always new things that I can be bringing to it and doing with it. And like I'm obsessed with podcasts. I listen continuously to things. I'm always listening to new ideas. I've
Mm.
got so many friends that run their own business, which is so weird that that has happened. Like, as in, like friends from school. Like, I'm like, how have we all like? And it's that nature nurture thing. Like, I'm like, were we have we all run? Do we all run a business because each other have done it and it's inspired each other?
Mhm.
At school, did we naturally come together because we had those attributes, and now we're running like it? That blows my mind.
Mm.
The amount of childhood friends I have that run their own businesses. But I am so open to like new ideas and listening, and like always trying to learn and better. And I believe that Actors Pro Expo has got a really long way to go. Like I really want it to grow to our last event, we had 3,500 people that came, which was great. And I really want to grow that. I'd love to move into like a much bigger venue. I'd love to kind of like just get more and more, because if you think, okay, it is a big event, fine, 3,500, 4,000 people come,
Mm.
but think of how many actors there are. Like that isn't that many then, 4,000. Like I'm like, Felicity, you've got way more to do because 4,000 people is not every actor. Like I would love to have every single actor come and for everyone to get something from it. So there's so much further for me to go. I
Mm.
believe that the event could be probably about 4 or 5 times the size that it is if I am able to kind of keep growing it. And but really I think the way to do that is to keep listening and responding to the needs of actors and the needs of businesses that are connecting with actors, and really making sure that when an actor comes to the event and they sit at the stage and listen to the interviews and meet with the exhibitors and go to the seminars and they do meals for monologues and all of that stuff, that like they leave the event like feeling so inspired and so
Yeah.
invigorated that they tell everybody about this amazing event. Like I really feel like that's the way I grow it. Like I grow the event by making the event brilliant so that when people come, they get like everything that they can out of it. And then they tell people, because there's no better marketing than word of mouth. Like
Exactly.
there's no, I could literally put every penny into Instagram advertising and Facebook advertising and Google AdWords and all of that. But if one person tells 10 people it was no good, that is like really detrimental. But if
Yeah.
one person tells 10 people it was amazing, that is
Mm.
worth its weight in gold, you
Yeah.
know? So that's really the goal, is to make the event really, really strong, um, and then grow that way. And yeah, just try to kind of increase to a bigger venue, increase the number of attendees, increase the number of sponsors, um, and just make it possible for us to kind of yeah, get as big as we can be.
Mm. I'm sure you will achieve everything that you want to. I'm absolutely sure of that. So it's kind of a very similar question to what I've just asked you now, but in terms of like the more immediate future, so we're sort of midway through 2024 right now, which it seems like this year's just kind of disappeared, really, hasn't it? But in terms of like next year, so you got one more showcase this year, and then you're planning for your next one next year. Other than the showcase, what does 2025 have in store for yourself and Actors Pro Expo?
Yeah, so we'll have we audition Actors Pro Expo 2025 in February. So we're a weird company because the biggest event for us is at the beginning of the year.
Hmm.
Um, and then after that, the planning starts. So I have a virtual event which I still run in July, which is a 3-day event, same as the live event, but it's all done virtually.
Hmm.
So I have that in July, and then I have we audition Actors Pro Expo London, which is in February, and then I'll have my virtual showcases. And then I also have a kids event, which is called Young Talent Expo, which is basically exactly the same as Actors Pro Expo, but it's for kids. At the same venue, ETC Bishopsgate. But yeah, so I basically have that event as well, which I run. So that will be everything that we'll do. I mean, the goal now is really to just grow what I already have rather than coming up with new ideas.
Sure.
And that is harder. Like for me as a person, like coming up with the ideas is the easy bit. Um, and like my like rule to myself for 2025 is like no new events or new initiatives, just grow what you already have and like make those as good as possible. And like you can grow them within the events and like come up with new ideas within the events, but like I'm gonna try to just kind of like grow what I already have and not come up with anything new.
Mm. Well, it sounds fun. Sounds like it's going to be a really, really good year for you and everything else. I know we're slightly pushed for time, so we're just gonna have. I've just got a few more things left for you, Felicity, and we can just finish up now. First of all, well, thank you for today. This has been. I've really enjoyed this.
Thank
This has
you
been
very
great.
much. It's really great to be asked to be on your podcast. So thank you.
No, no, thank you, thank you. So the first question is, I'm sure you might have been asked this before, so apologies if you have. But what would you say to anyone who wants to create a company like yours? What advice would you give to those people?
My biggest advice is it will never, ever be ready. It's so easy to say, I'm going to set it up when I've done this. I'm going to set it up when I've done that.
Mm,
And it it just you have to start and then it will become perfect. Edit on the fly, just get things out there and then as it's going, edit it as you go. I mean, my first website, I don't, there's probably a website out there where you can like get old websites up, but it was so funny. Like it was hilarious. When I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God, I was it was so funny, like hilarious. One of the companies that was my first sponsor, um, they did me a new website. So before my first ever event, I actually had a new website that was made for that event. So my first original website never even made it past about 3 months. But if I hadn't have come up with that website, I would have never connected with that company that were like, we need to build you a website, let us do the new website. And then, because I would have never had that opportunity. So
mm,
like, yeah, I just really, I know it's scary, but I really, really say to people, like, it's so easy to say, I will do that when I've done this, but
mm,
then you can't do it. The other thing as well is like, it's so easy to have an idea and then keep that protected because when it's protected, it never fails. And so, like, so many people are like, oh, I've got this really amazing idea to do this.
yeah,
And then they're like, I've got it, I've got it, I've got it. And it's there. And that's really nice and that's really fun. And like, that is such a lovely space because you can imagine what it would be like. You can like think about how amazing it's going to be and blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
And then when you actually do that event or do that company or do that idea, that could go in many different ways and then it's not protected anymore. So it's so easy to just keep it in there because it's protected and nothing bad's going to happen because you're never actually doing it.
yeah,
Um, and like, that quote where it's like half 98% or half the whatever it is basically showing up. Um, to show up is half the battle.
yeah,
And it's so true. Like just every day, like showing up and just like doing something to do with that business or whatever it is. And just just getting out of your own head and like getting on the phone and taking the opportunities and like pushing it out there
yeah,
can be so scary rather than keeping it in your mind. But that is what you have to do because it's so easy to just wait and wait and wait and wait for the perfect time and the perfect moment. And once I've done this or once I've got this, I achieve this, then I'll do it, then I'll do it. And then 10 years go past and it's like, oh,
yeah,
you know. So yeah, I think that is my advice. Just actually do it, even if it's not perfect. Just
yeah,
get it out.
yeah. I think this next one might you might have answered the next question actually, which is, what would you say was a bit of advice you wish someone gave you when you were starting out?
Did you say that I wish someone gave
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
or that?
yeah. So, what's a bit of advice you wish you heard when you were starting out?
Yeah. what advice would I wish that I had?
Yeah.
I think I think something which maybe this isn't advice, but maybe this is skills,
Yeah.
which I wish I had that I don't,
Sure.
is I wish that I was a lot better at kind of like if I was hit by a bus, nothing could happen because everything is in here and nothing is like there's no like you might think there's going to be like some spreadsheet which explains everything and all the protocols and all of that kind of stuff, and it's like it just doesn't work like that. Like everything's in here. I've got this really amazing colleague called Leanne, and me and her are like we literally just work together perfectly. But we, I kind of wish that from the very beginning, and I'm not like this as a person, so I'm probably wishing for something that would never happen, but like someone that was like had like a really good like system in place where it was like this is what you do, and you know, and this is where everything is organized and all of that kind of stuff, because that would make life a lot easier and work a lot easier if like everything was kind of like organized. But then at the same time I kind of feel like maybe if I had that personality, I also wouldn't have an entrepreneurial personality as well.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like perhaps having like good systems and things like that would have been good from the beginning.
Yeah.
15 years on, I still don't really have any like organized systems to make it all a bit easier.
Yeah. Oh, it'll come. It'll come, I'm sure. Cool. And final question for today, which is what would you say was an experience or experiences you've had in your career up to this point that you'll never ever forget?
Um, we've had some really scary moments before events.
Okay.
So we had one year where we lost our venue the day before the event.
The day before.
Um, the day before, yeah.
Jesus.
Um, so that was we found a new venue, and we rearranged the entire event to the new venue within 24 hours. Um, and there have been things like that. COVID. I mean, COVID hit 3 weeks after Actors Pro Expo in 2020. We had a protest that was planned at one of our events once, in about, I think that's about 2017 that happened, which was about, it was not about us. It was basically about, we had a production company that was doing an open casting call there. And we then found out that they hadn't paid some of their actors, and the actors were planning to do a protest at the event about this production company.
Okay.
So there's been lots of these things, and they have really, really helped me, because when bad stuff happens now, or something scary happens, or like someone drops out or whatever, I'm always like, you survived that, you can survive this. That the world didn't fall apart when that happened, and everything worked out. Everything is fixable, and
Yeah.
sometimes scary stuff happens, but at the end of the day, I'm not a doctor. I'm not saving lives. Like, no one's going to die. Like, it's an event. And yeah, okay, it's really important to me. But it's an event at the end of the day. And like, I'm not a brain surgeon, you know, like things, bad stuff is going to happen, but no one's going to die and everything's going to be fine. And it might be a bit uncomfortable, but like, you can get through it. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what, like bad experiences and scary stuff that's happened before running events
Yeah.
have been really bad at the time and really scary.
Mm.
But like now, when bad stuff happens, like the first thing I go to is like, you survived that, you can survive this. Like
Exactly.
that all worked out. No one died. Like you're gonna be fine. Like this will be fixable. Like there will be a solution. Like find the solution, find the door. Like you can work this out. And I think that is something which I always say to people, like, you've got to back yourself. Like, you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to be able to say, like, you can do this, like, you are good, like, you
Mm.
can do this, you did that, now you can do this. And like, I'm such, like, I always pep talk myself. I'm always like giving myself like a bit of a kick, like, you know, you'll be fine, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
um and I feel like those experiences that I've had with like scary stuff that have happened before events have meant that now when bad stuff happens, like, I do still freak out and I am dramatic and all of that, but I also have this like voice in my mind that's like, you'll be fine. Like, this bad stuff's happened in the past. You got through it. You'll be fine. Like, this is fixable. And I always remind myself, like I said earlier, like, this isn't, you don't work in the NHS. Like, you're not, like, you know, you're not saving a life. Like, you know, it's fine. Like, you know, if something bad happens, like a speaker drops out just before a seminar and stuff, like, yeah, okay, it's rubbish and it's going to make you feel awful,
Yeah.
but nobody's dying. Like, it's fine. Like, it
Yeah.
will all be okay, you know?
It's all good. It's all good. No need to worry. Felicity, I'm very aware we're running out of time, but so yeah, that was brilliant. So thank you very, very much for your time. It's been great to talk to you about the business, and I know I've had, personal experience of going to your events myself, and you really do walk away feeling like, yeah, first of all, like you said earlier, you're not alone, and
Yeah.
that there are always, no matter where you are in life, there's always other people there with you who are going through the same experiences, and it's good that you go along and you see other people going through that. Yeah, thank you for your businesses. They're making a heck of a lot of difference and making people feel much more at home, like in themselves, and also helping them with their careers as well. And like I say, like, having had first-hand experience with yourself and your companies, I can really rest assured everyone that you do a really, really, really great job. And and here's to more of your Actors Pro Expo in the future and the growth going forward. So yeah, so thank you for not only for today but for your businesses.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me. And yeah, it's great that you're doing this podcast as well. And yeah, you've had some brilliant guests on here. So yeah, same for you. Hopefully it grows and you keep chatting to loads of good people. And yeah, thank you very much for having me.
No, it's been great. No, I like talking to people about this stuff. It's great. That's all it is. Cool. If you just hang on, I'll finish the recording, then we'll have a little debrief afterwards. We'll go over that. But yeah, wow, yeah, really great stuff, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Uncensored Critic podcast, and I'll be back very, very soon. And yeah, brilliant. Felicity, thank you so much.
Bye bye. Bye, everyone.